Thanks. Share screen. Yichud for Elul. Share. Okay. So here we go. Shalom Aleichem. Everybody knows that I am not a Kabbalist. I'm not very into Kabbalah. If people ask me questions about Kabbalah and angels and stuff, I tell them that if I don't see how it helps me become a better person and love everyone more and put on my tefillin with more kavanah, then it doesn't do it for me. I need to know how it actually practically helps me, what it's doing for me. I'm into Mussar, personal growth, and so I'm trying to keep it simple. I'm a very, very simple Jew. But I read this, and I'm just going to basically read you what I read and tell you what I'm doing. I read this from the book B'Yam Darkecha. It's written by a Talmud of Rav Ichmaya Morgenstern, who is probably the biggest Makubal in the world at the moment, from London. And his Talmud basically wrote all of his Torahs and amazing nifledika, that means wondrous ideas, but in a way that simple Jews like myself can actually benefit from them and gain from them. And I've been trying this so far in Elul, and it's really been amazing for me. It's been very, very simple. I understand what I'm trying to do, and we're mindfulness people, mindfulness chabor. And I always say, I don't know why it's called mindfulness, because our minds are so full. And what we've got to do is we've got to try and make our minds less full. But the truth is that there is something to calming our mind and clearing our mind and finding peace and finding depth and finding calm. But then we do need to refill our mind. What are our minds full of most of the time? And the truth is our minds are full of not things that we don't need. Like I hope the train comes on time. I just hope the train, okay, that's lovely, but hoping is not going to change it. It's going to come. Like my son's learning to play chess now, and sometimes he says, I wish that piece wasn't there. And I'm like, okay, I hear that. I wish it wasn't there too, but it is. So we spend lots of our time hoping and wishing, or just commentating on the world and life around us. And our minds in general, unless we're doing some form of meditation, are actually really full the whole time. So rather than just letting whatever tape is being played, we can start to choose to fill our minds with what we want to fill it with. So I often use the example of I have a 10-minute bike ride to work. So I choose before I get on my bike what I want to think about. So I'll think about, maybe if I haven't planned my lesson, I'll think about what I want to teach. But often I'm just thinking about how amazing the world is, or I'm contemplating all the things I'm grateful for on my way home from work, 10 minutes on my bike. I choose to do a cheshbon nefesh. I go through my day, what time I woke up, how I spoke to people, what I did. So I'm using my time. I'm choosing what's going on in my mind rather than just letting my mind do what it wants to do and run wild and do those things. So our sages teach us a very powerful thing, that really we should be trying to think about Hashem. That's what I want to be thinking about. If I'm going to be thinking about something, and I'm going to choose what I want to think about, I want to think about Hashem. And that's what Devekus is. Devekus means clinging to Hashem, to be God conscious. And for us, that really means to be thinking. For now, obviously, it also means high levels of losing our ego and stuff. But for now, many sources say that Devekus, clinging to Hashem, means to be thinking about Hashem, but longingly and with some emotion attached to that. So this is what we want to do. So I'm going to just start reading from this Sefer, and I'm going to show you what he tells us to do this month. Just very quickly, Yichud. What does Yichud mean? Often we say, well, I say a lot without fully knowing what it means necessarily, but before every mitzvah we do, we say, L'shem Yichud Kudshe Brichu Shchinteh, and all cool things like that. Sfardim say like 3 pages of it. It's very, very cool. I try to do the Sephardi one, it's much better. But in order to unite this name of God with this name of God. So this is what it says here. What does that really mean? Here we go. The names of Hashem. This is from B'Yam Darkecha. The names of Hashem. Shem mafteach atzum liskarev al yadam laHashem yisbarach b'pnimius. These are an immensely powerful key in order to draw us close to Hashem b'pnimius, in a deep, deep way. Now, many of us are living on a very superficial level. We're just thinking about what we got to get done that day. And as I just said before, we're thinking about all these superficial things, and we very rarely go deeply within ourselves. We're not living from a deep place within ourselves. And a deep place within ourselves is one of deep calm and connection. And that's what we've been trying to do in the Chabor, is to go deeper within ourselves. I always use the example of the waves on the sea, and everything's crashing, and there's loud storm and noise and big waves, and we're in the boat and we're being tossed around all over the place. But that's only on the surface. That's on the surface. But as soon as you go underneath the waves, if you go 10, 20 meters under the sea, it's all very, very, very calm and quiet down there. So too for us in our lives. All of our pain and stress and anxiety and worry and doubt and hopes and dreams and memories, all of that, that's on the surface of our psyche. But if we go deeper down within our psyche and we actually access deeper parts of who we really are, then we will enter a place of deep, deep peace. So we want to go beyond the surface level. And they open the gates of heaven for all matters and all levels. Uve'emet, pashtas inyan yechudim hu davar hashayich lechol ben aliyah. It's true, really, on the simple level, these yichudim, which I'm going to explain what we're actually going to be doing, are shayich for everyone. Everyone can do this. It doesn't. People always come up to me and say, "Rabbi, teach me to meditate," and I always laugh and I say, "Sit up straight and breathe through your nose." And when your mind wanders, just come back to breathing through your nose. And they're like, well, shouldn't I be meditating on divine names? And I always kind of smile and I say, well, just learn to breathe first, and then you can meditate on divine names. But the truth is, he says, no. There's something very simple about this. For who, what is this? Sheha'adam choshev b'maycho b'shemat Hashem. What it is that you think in your head, you picture in your mind the names of God. And Hashem has many different names. Elokim, Adnus, and Havaya, and the many different names of Hashem. So we should use our dimyon, our power of imagination, and just see the letters of the names of Hashem. Now, there's many different meditations that we use where you're looking at something. You're looking at a candle, for example, or you're looking at the blue sky. The Arizal says we should spend time looking at a clear blue sky. That's why it's important to live in Israel if you can. Look at a clear blue sky. Look at these things. But to actually focus on the letters of Hashem's name is not just calming. The letters themselves, the names themselves, have immense spiritual power. You're pulling down immense spiritual power. We say actually that Hashem created the world. Bereshit bara Elokim et Hashemayim ve'et haaretz. When Hashem began creating et Hashemayim ve'et haaretz, really it could have just said Bereshit bara Elokim Hashemayim. At the beginning of Hashem creating the heavens. What's this et? So our sages teach us et is aleph and taf, which is aleph to taf, which is the whole aleph bet. So first Hashem created the letters, and through the letters Hashem created the universe. God said, let there be light. God created the universe through speech. We know there are three garments of the soul: thought, speech, and action. Your thoughts are completely internal. No one can see your thoughts, and your actions are completely external. And your speech is the bridge between the internal and the external. So that's what it really means. Hashem took his internal desire to create a universe and he spoke it. He manifested it into reality and brought it out. So those letters themselves, and our sages tell us that the Torah actually is one long name of Hashem. They have immense spiritual power. V'toch kedei hamachshava behem. And whilst you're picturing these letters and these names, so at the time, you're basically doing two things. This is what we're doing, keeping it very simple. You're thinking, you're imagining the letters of the name. And whilst you're imagining the letters of the name, you are trying to arouse within yourself the relevant feeling that is attached to the name. So what does this mean, really? Hashem has many names. And the names of Hashem are just expressions of how he interacts. They're different aspects of Hashem. Some people call me Abba, some people call me son, some people call me Rebbe, some people call me brother. One person calls me brother. So many people, I've got many different names for many different people because my relationship with them is different and they express different aspects of myself. So too, Hashem has many different names and each of them has a different energy to it. Ki Hashem Yisparach, Because Hashem actually put immense spiritual power into these names. Because these are a ladder and a key for us to enter into very holy, high feelings. We want to open up our heart and feel, when we talk about things like Dveikus and Yira and Ahava, these very high levels of consciousness, it's all a feeling. We need to be starting to feel things. And these imaginations of these names and trying to arouse the appropriate emotion, they help us incredibly much in purifying our heart and our mind and our heart. So fine, so this is what we're trying to do. And it says here, every Jew, even the most simple Jew, we can do this. But Yehudi Pashut, even a very simple Jew, like little dog bear, you can get something out of this. Even more so, someone who's really trying to grow. And all the more so in Chodesh Elul. We know that Elul is all about tshuva, coming back, coming close to Hashem. That's what tshuva is, as we're doing in the Chagim Chibura right now. Tshuva isn't giving a bit more tzedakah and saying your brachas with more kavana, although that is very important. Tshuva is returning to a state of dveikus, a state of immense, close, authentic, palpable, personal relationship with Hashem. And that's what these things are going to try and help us do. So now we're going to get on to the actual thing. I'm going to try and keep this short. Be'ezus Hashem. So here we go. Hello. How do I move there you go. Fine. The first name we are going to work with is this one. It's the most famous and the most essential name of Hashem, which is Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. And our sages teach us that it makes up the letters, the words Haya, Hoveh, V'Yihyeh, which means was, is, and always will be. And it really refers to Hashem beyond time and space. Hashem completely before even the creation of the world, Hashem beyond time and space that we can't even really imagine. So Ein Od Milvado. Hashem is this infinite being, and there's nothing else that has true existence. Everything else that exists depends on Hashem to exist and could be taken out of existence at any point. Hashem is the only true essential existence. Now, we have a concept in Kabbalah, once again, quite simple-ish, is called milui. Milui means filling. So what does that mean? That you can fill out the name of Hashem by spelling out the letters. So Yud is spelled Yud Vav Dalid. That's how you spell Yud, Yud Vav Dalid. And Hey, there are actually 3 different spellings of Hey. Don't ask me what all of them mean. I don't know that yet. I don't think we need to know that yet. But you can spell Hey either Hey Aleph or Hey Yud or Hey Hey. Hey Aleph, Hey Yud, Hey Hey. Hey Hey. So each of them also has their own power. Then you have Vav. Vav can be spelled Vav Vav, Vav Aleph Vav, or Vav Yud Vav. And then you got another Hey. And the Milui is actually showing us something deeper, showing us the depth of what's behind these names, the depth of being and the depth of feeling, the hidden, what's hidden behind it. Even the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey, that's on the surface, that's what we can see, but there's hidden things behind it. For example, I wish I'd put it on the PowerPoint. Adam, the word Adam, human, a man, a woman, a man, Adam. Aleph is Aleph Lamed Pei, and Daled is Daled Taf, and Mem is Mem Mem. So those internal letters, Mem, Taf, Lamed, Lamed, spell Mitpalel, Mitpalel. So Mitpalel means to pray. So it teaches you that really what is the essence of a man is to pray. Aleph is Aleph Lamed Pei, Daled is Daled Lamed Taf, and Mem is Mem Mem. Those internal letters spell Mitpalel. So we're born to pray. So this is the one for Elul. Apparently, once again, don't ask me why, but it's Yud, and there's 2 Hey, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. This name, by the way, in Kabbalah, is the name Sag. It's called the name Sag. But this is all from the Arizal, by the way. It's bringing down from the Arizal. It's Sag because its gematria is 63. So what is this name? Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey of Hashem. What's the feeling we're meant to get? We're really meant to get the idea of Ein Od Milvado, that there is only Hashem. I'm just going to turn on the air conditioning. Wow, Baruch Hashem, I just kicked the chair. Good. Just kicked the chair, broke my toe, but it's all good. So here we go. So this aspect of Hashem is that Ein Od Milvado, there is not, Hashem is infinite. Hashem is infinite. And by the way, science nowadays, we broke down the atom into protons and neutrons and electrons, and we broke them down. And now we have quarks. And quarks, they've come up now, science, quantum physics, says that there's a unified field theory, which means that there is only one substance of all matter. We used to think, you know, there are lots of different elements and iron and hydrogen, but if you break down everything in existence, it turns into quarks. So your nose and this computer, if you actually just broke it down, they would be made of exactly the same building blocks. So they say there's only one, whole of reality is one, and all the rabbis are like, Mazel Tov. Hashem is everything. Hashem is everything. And if Hashem is everything, that means that my ego, anything that is not connected to Hashem, I need to mevatel it. I need to let go. I need to completely let go of my sense of self separate from Hashem. As we said, it all happened in the garden when the snake said to Chava, he said, don't eat the tree, don't eat the fruit from the tree, because if you eat the fruit, you'll be like Hashem. And that created an ego, a separation from Hashem. What she should have really said was, I'm already like Hashem. Hashem created me in his image. And we see it like this. Imagine a sheep in your head, a sheep with a hat on. So does that sheep exist? So the truth is it does exist, because you can tell me what color the hat is, but it only exists because you're thinking about it, and it doesn't exist separately from you, and it doesn't have independent existence. It's completely dependent on you, and you didn't even change when you started thinking about that sheep. So too, we are kind of in Hashem's mind. We're a figment of Hashem's imagination, and this whole physical world, according to our sages, is just a cover-up. It's a shading so that we can actually deal with Hashem's divine light. Imagine you had a light bulb and it was so bright, so you had to cover it up with a bit of shading. So that's what Hashem kind of did, covered up his divine radiant light, and just covered it up, so that we could actually start trying to have any sort of relationship. So this is what this name is Hashem Echad, and to completely mevatel my ego and my desires and my Yetzer Hara, and just become completely in line with Hashem. I just want to do what Hashem wants to do, let go of all of it's called Mesiras Nefesh. By the way, this is from the beginning of the Torah as well. Hashem told Abraham to sacrifice Yitzhak. Doesn't seem to make any sense to us. Why would you tell him to do that? He loves him. He doesn't want to do this. So what Hashem was really saying to Abraham was, sacrifice yourself. Sacrifice any sense of self separate from me. Any wants, any desires, any beliefs, any value, everything. Just mevatel, give up your any idea and just become one with me. Let us be one. So that's how Abraham became the highest level you could become. So this is what this name is. There's obviously so much more to say, but we've got to try and keep it simple. So the feeling we're meant to get when we look at this name and imagine this name is that I'm losing my sense of ego self, and I'm just kind of melting into soul space, very calm, very, very deep within myself, where I'm just completely, there's no me, and there's just Hashem. That's what we're trying to do. It's a very high thing to try and do, but that's what we're trying to do. So the next name, Ekia. Ekia is another major important name of Hashem, Aleph and Hey and Yud and Hey, and it's the name that when Moshe Rabbeinu sees Hashem at the burning bush and he says, what should I tell the people is your name? I'm going to go back to Egypt. I've got to tell the Jewish people who you are. And he says, tell them my name is Ekia Asher Ekia. This is Ekia. This is the name of the mikveh, one of the names of the mikveh. There are different names in the mikveh. This is one of the names of the mikveh. If you take Aleph squared plus Hey squared plus Yud squared plus Hey squared, it's the same numerical value as mikveh. And this means, I'm going to show you the milui for this one. This is how you spell Aleph and Hey and Yud and Hey. And what we're meant to be trying to feel when we're this name is actually a bit different. It's a yearning. Ekieh means really, I will be. I'm yearning for something. I'm not there. I want to achieve something. And this is actually it's a very, very powerful name. So in the first name we spoke about, we're connected to God on a very high level of oneness. But in this name, there's some distance and we're yearning. I just want to feel connected to God. And you can see why this is to do with tshuva. Tshuva, this name is really a name of tshuva where I want to come back. I want to be deeply connected to Hashem. So they're contradictory in a way, because the first name is there is no distance between us, and the second is there is distance between us. The first thing I've completely let go of anything that's making any distance between me and Hashem. And this name is there is distance, and your soul, by the way, your soul is burning and burning all the time to be connected to Hashem. It just wants, it loves mitzvahs. Your neshama loves mitzvahs. That's all it wants to do all day, is starving. Your neshama is starving and yearning to do mitzvahs. There's a very, very famous Likutei Moran, number 6, talking about these kind of things, the kavanas of Elul. And Rebbi Nachman says you have to be baki baratzai v'baki b'shav. Baki means an expert. You've got to be baki. You've got to be an expert in losing your ego and sitting in a very high state of God consciousness. But then you also have to be an expert of coming out of that and yearning. And it, by the way, it's going to happen all the time. Sometimes we feel very spiritually connected and sometimes we feel very not connected at all. But not connected to Hashem, especially in Breslev Chassidus, is a very, very high level, because yearning for connection is a very high level of emotional intimacy. Sometimes you have emotional intimacy, but when you're very far apart, what is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder. So Rebbi Nachman says, when you're not feeling so connected to Hashem, you have to be baki. You have to be an expert in how to deal with that. You can either feel despondent and give up and think Hashem's pushed you away and you can despair, or you can take it as an immense opportunity to yearn to be close. And, there's nothing closer than yearning to be close. So these are the two main names that this name, by the way, is Kasa. Kasa, just basically because it's Gematria 161. Baruch Ato Adonai Eloheinu Melech Ha'olam she'akol niyeh b'dvarei. By the way, in Elul, when I've been saying brachas, Baruch Atah Hashem, I think of Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey with that milui, the milui of Sag. And it's not a crazy thing, just a little bit of time. And because I've seen these letters so much, it helps me actually be able to see them in my head. I can now I've got a rishum, I've got an engraving of these letters in my head. So by the way, now on my bike to and from school, I'm just going through these letters in my head. Yud spelt out, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. These letters are rolling through I'm keeping my eyes open on my bike. Don't worry, ma'am. I'm okay. They're going to find me crashed somewhere and they'll say, hey, what happened to Dobbe? And it's like he was doing yichudim of the Yuds. I tried to keep some consciousness on the road. But here we go. So we have these two, baki baratzai, baki bashav. I know how to be immensely connected to Hashem and immensely peaceful. Once again, it's very, very peaceful to be connected that deeper part. And this one, the ekieh, is not so peaceful. There's a burning yearning. There you go. It's a burning yearning for closeness to Hashem. And we got to understand that our life's going to take us on ups and downs of feeling connected, not feeling connected. We have to be a baki. We have to be completely an expert in being able to ride these waves and feel it when we feel it and be okay when we don't feel it and yearning to feel it more. So great. So those are the first two names. Baki Baratzai, Baki Rashav. Then there's one more name. And the last name is this. I could be reading it inside, but I want to try and keep it shorter. The last name is this. It's back to the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and Hey. By the way, this often happens. We see Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. You have a Hashem at the beginning and a Hashem at the end. And it's the name of Hashem is, there is Einod Milvado. There's nothing apart from Hashem, which is bittul. I am mevatling. Bittul means to nullify. I'm completely nullifying myself. And there's only Hashem, and Hashem controls everything. It's a very high state to be in, to be able to just makabel, to just receive everything. I often say the idea that what makes us upset, we get very upset when things don't go our way. Very upset. Things aren't going my way. I get very upset. But if you're on a very high level of bittul, self-nullification, and saying that Hashem is in control of everything and everything's for my best, then you don't have your way anymore. I just don't have my way. So once you get to a state where I don't have my way, like Avraham Avinu, when he went to the Akedah, he didn't have his way. I've let go of needing my way, and I'm just completely surrendering to whatever God's way is, then you can never get upset. Because if you don't have your way, things can't not go your way, because you don't have a way for things not to go your way. So it's a very, very high level. I'm just letting go and letting go. So I had an insight the other day that surrender is related to serenity. Surrender, serenity. Once you can just surrender, it's very serious. It's a very peaceful place to be. So there's another milui. It's yud and hey and vav and hey, but with this spelling. Yud with a hey hey, a vav vav and a hey hey. This is called Shem Ban. And Ban mean is Gematria 52. And what's the power? This is Ol Malchut Shamayim. Ol Malchut Shamayim means to literally take upon yourself the yoke of the kingship of heaven. And what does that mean? It means we're not meant to be flying in yearning and devekas all the time. We have to be living in the world and doing what Hashem wants us to do. And this is a very, very important thing about the idea of hitbadidut. Hitbadidut doesn't mean screaming to Hashem in the forest, although you can do that. Hitbadidut means learning to be able to be alone, just to be able to be alone with no phones and no. Ika hitbadidut nowadays is to be more than a 5-minute walk away from your phone. I know that's scary, but to be able to just really be alone, we want to go into that place. We're in a quiet place, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is so that we can come back into the world and love people. Once you've tapped into a very deep place within yourself, where you're okay being alone, then you can truly love other people and not judge other people. So this is, how am I going to bring these two powerful devekas and yearning into my everyday life? I'm going to go and daven. I'm going to go and give tzedakah. I'm going to go and help people. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be a Kiddush Hashem. So I want to, it's basically concretizing it, it's bringing it all down and saying, how am I going to now manifest that in my life? Okay, so this is what he says we need to do. First, we need to think about those first letters. I've printed them out. I'll show you. We need to think about these first letters and try and nullify ourselves and go to a very, very deep place within ourselves where there's no ego and it's just everything is Hashem. It's only quarks. We're only a sheep in Hashem's mind, whatever it is. Then we go on to the second one, which is visualizing the other letters and a deep yearning. Rav Kook actually speaks about this. There's shlemut and hishtalmut. Shlemut means perfection, and hishtalmut means perfecting, becoming perfect. So we have these two aspects of ourselves, by the way. We have an aspect of ourselves that is perfect. We're already perfect. You're literally a piece of Hashem. You are perfect. But we have this other piece of ourselves, this kind of lower ego embodied piece of ourselves that is yearning, is working to become perfect. And we got it. This is Baki Baratzo, Baki Bashav. There's a place of us that's perfect, and there's a part of us that's yearning to become perfect. And that's what tshuva is, by the way. Tshuva is bringing our lower self completely in line with our higher perfect self, returning to our state of perfection. Sweet. So I'm just going to show you one very cool thing, and then we're going to try and do the meditation. Don't know how long this has been. Rebbi Nachman brings this, and other sources bring this. There's a pasuk in Yeshayahu, chapter 43, verse 16, which says this: Hanoten b'yam derech. It gives a path through the sea. And it's spoken that this is really talking about tshuva, because it's hard to have a path in the sea, because as soon as the boat goes through, basically, there's a little backwash or whatever it is, but it covers over, it covers over, it covers over. And so Olam Hazeh can be like this, but it's basically very, very simply is saying that Hashem gives us this possibility to forge a new way. However, you got the sea of life. This book is actually called Bayam Darkecha, Bayam Darkecha, based on this pasuk. Noten Bayam Derech, in the path of your ways. So this is we're forging a path through the sea of life to return to Hashem. So this is what Rebbi Nachman says. He says, oh, here we go, Derech. The gematria of Derech is 224. So why is this significant? Derech is 224 because these two names that we're using, Kasa and Sag, equal 224. By the way, Baki, the word Baki, which means to be an expert, is 112. And it's Baki Baratzo and Baki Bashal. So you got two Bakis, so you got 212s. Baki and Baki is 224 as well. There's a Derech. You got to have this Derech. This is all in Likutei Moharan number 6. And then Bayam is 52. And as we know, the Shem Ban, this other name is 52 as well. So this is all very deep, too deep. What we want to try and do now, we're going to try and do this meditation. So, and the point is, whoa. Let's go back. How do we go back? The point is not to overthink it. You're not meant to be like contemplating the day. Just focus on the letters and just see the letters. And whilst you're looking at the letters, maybe you can open your eyes first and try and see the letters. But if you can then close your eyes and imagine the letters in your head, and whilst you're imagining the letters, we're going to try and get the feeling that we're meant to get. So I'm going to start in 30 seconds. If anyone wants to put on, you're all on mute. If you'd like to put on some soft music or a candle or something, well, maybe not a candle because we're concentrating on the name, but get yourselves comfortable. If you like music, if you've got some lavender oil, which you all should probably do by now. So make yourself comfortable. And then we're going to start, and hopefully we'll just do this for 5 minutes. We'll do a 5-minute meditation. Although you can imagine that it takes a lot more than 5 minutes. But if you practice 5 minutes a day for the rest of Elul, you can start feeling very sweet, powerful things. Bezat Hashem. And then when you're waiting for the bus, or you're in your car waiting to pick someone up, or then just start thinking these names of Hashem and bringing them together, bringing all these aspects together. When you're on your bike, unless you're using your mind to think practically what I have to do, or mitzvahs or something, you just have these letters going through your mind. Okay, so let's go. Sit up straight. Sit up straight, loosen your neck. There's immense spiritual powers just seeing these letters, immensely spiritual powers. By the way, it's not great to see them on the screen. So I've actually printed them out. I printed some out and I laminated it. So in the middle of my Shemona Esrei, I have that in the middle of my Shemona Esrei, and sometimes I open my eyes and I see them. I got it in my pocket when I do a bracha, so I'm carrying it around with me, and it helps me. The less time you can spend looking at a screen, the better. When people daven from their phone, I'm like, there's some power to the Hebrew words. Okay, everyone sit up straight. Loosen your neck and shoulders, smile, breathe. Baruch Hashem. A little bit of music if you want. Okay. So here's the first name. So I want you to just start breathing very deeply through your nose, like you're probably accustomed to by now. Breathing very, very deeply through your nose and filling up your lungs, and then gently releasing the air and trying to get into a rhythm of breathing deeply and then gently releasing. And my Rebbe Bilvavi says that actually when you breathe in, you can think to yourself, and we're going to do this for 1 minute. Every time you breathe in, just say to yourself, I'm going deeper into myself. going deeper into myself. A very simple thought, no analyzing what that means, just saying I'm going deeper into myself. Okay, so when you're ready, either open your eyes or keep them closed, but try and see these letters in your head, the Yud and the Hey, and the Vav and the Hey. You can look at them on the screen or picture them in your head. And keep breathing very deeply. And try and feel Ein Ad Milvadai. There is nothing apart from Hashem. However you do that, Hashem is infinite. We're just a piece of Hashem. Not separate from Hashem. You can even just say to yourself, Ein Ad Milvadai, over and over again. There is nothing besides Hashem. Trying to hold the letters in your mind and feel nullified, melting your ego away and becoming one with Hashem. Okay, so the next name, just put it on the screen. Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey, Ekyeh. You can either open your eyes and look at them, or just try and imagine them, or open and close your eyes. And here you're trying to feel a deep yearning, to feel your heart opening and yearning for closeness. What's your deepest ratzon? What's your deepest desire? Just to return and be with Hashem. A burning, fiery yearning. You can imagine your soul like a bonfire, raging bonfire, trying to go upwards and reunite with Hashem. Trying to keep the letters in your mind. And say, you can speak to Hashem, please, please, Ribbon Shel Olam, just want to come close. I just want to return to Dvekas. And when you're ready, as if the bonfire leapt off the wood and returned, go back to the first name, Yod and Hey and Vav and Hey, and try and feel the immense peace and wholeness and completion of Dvekas, of Yichud, of Einod Milvadai. And when you're ready, switch back and start playing with this. Ratzo Veshav, completion and yearning, Yichud and Ishtokekut, yearning. Okay, just because of time, we're going to go on to the last name. Shem Ban, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. How am I going to bring these lofty feelings down into my service of Hashem, my Avodas Hashem, and to see all my life, my job and my relationships and my learning and everything as a manifestation and an actualization of these two powerful energies. And so my mitzvahs are flowing from this place of yearning and completion, and my work and my thoughts and my speech and my action. How am I bringing these down into my everyday life? We're shining the light of Sag and Kasa, Chavaya and Akiye through Ban, the Derech Bayam. Okay. So now we know what it is and what we're trying to do. You can take time to do this 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. 45 minutes. Imagining the name, trying to arouse the emotion, and then bringing it down into our everyday life. And this is specifically for Elul. So we got another 2 weeks or so. And it's an immense, immense, immense key to real tshuva. Real tshuva. Also, we have to improve our character traits, and also we have to daven with more kavana and give more tzedakah and do those things. But this is a deeper level of really returning, yearning for returning, a burning yearning for returning. Jesus Hashem. I don't think there are any questions. I just don't have answers if you have questions. I'm just a simple Jew. But this is what you want to try and start doing, Jesus Hashem, if you can. If you do have a question, you can WhatsApp me. And I'll send you to someone who knows more. Jesus Hashem, we should have a kativa v'chatima tova, have real tshuva. We should all be zeicher to do real tshuva and go very, very, very much deeper into ourselves, so deep into ourselves that we reveal Hashem there in the deepest part of ourselves.
Amen.
Jesus Hashem.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Bye.